My dear students, my name is Shantaram, lecturer in selection grade lecturer in mechanical engineering, Government Polytechnic, Karwar. I am going to handle this subject refrigeration and air conditioning, which is meant for 6th semester mechanical diploma students as an elective subject. You may question why we have taken this subject as an elective for our studies. So it's a well good question everybody has to ask. I would usually say before learning any new concept or new subject, first of all you have to understand importance of that subject, and in turn what is the benefit I am going to get. So it acts as an intrinsic motivation. So it is most important thing to keep us always alert and attentive in learning, so that acts as a booster for our studies. And here I would like to say one word. The famous publisher and owner of Malayalam Manorama, the famous this one magazine in Kerala, and you also it is a so you also might have read about Week and other magazines in different languages. So that owner usually tells his subordinates and workers. So always you have to work with interest, not with hardship. So that makes your task very simple. So I was very much impressed by his terms. So it is quite natural that whatever work we have to do, so we have to do it with interest, not with hardship. So that actually improves our quality of work. That's why you please remember, you work with interest and don't feel hardship. With that one, here I would like to highlight the importance of this subject. So you are all aware that nowadays refrigeration and air conditioning is everywhere. As such, I don't find any field left out with this refrigeration and air conditioning concept. So whenever any student with a diploma in mechanical engineering with refrigeration and air conditioning as an elective subject has a added weightage during employment compared to other students of the mechanical diploma, since everywhere in every walk of our life we find refrigeration in one or other way. So the chances of getting employment will be widened. So by keeping that point in mind, we have chosen this subject as an elective for you. So with that, we shall start our session 1. So the main topics covered under this session are definition of refrigeration, list the application of refrigeration, state the units of refrigeration, and explain different types of refrigeration, or they are also called methods of refrigeration. So first of all, we shall try to define refrigeration. What is refrigeration? All we talk about. So just imagine, as shown in the figure, there is a space which is we shall consider as a insulated space. So that space is to be kept under lower temperature compared to here its surroundings. Then always the tendency of heat waves is to enter the lower temperature region from a higher temperature region. So in the refrigeration process, what we do, we remove that heat, whatever enters into that space, and subsequently whatever the heat generated in that space must be always pumped out, so that we can keep that space in some required temperature level. So for that we have to apply refrigeration mechanism. Here we have to define this term refrigeration. How you can define that one? It may be defined as the withdrawal of heat from a given substance or space maintained at lower temperature than its surroundings. So that you have to remove the heat from a substance or space where you require cooling. So that is a definition for this one. And here I would like to add one more thing. So here we have used the withdrawal of heat, one term, and maintained at lower temperature, another term. So once you can succeed in withdrawal of the heat, but that is not enough in refrigeration. We have to maintain the temperature always. For that continuous removal of heat and maintaining of temperature is very essential. So the refrigeration definition must include withdrawal of heat as well as maintaining or keeping that condition for always. Okay. The system maintained at lower temperature is known as a refrigerated system. So which system we keep at lower temperature, that can be called a refrigerated system. And the equipment used to facilitate transfer of heat from lower temperature space to higher temperature surroundings and maintaining its lower inflow temperature is known as a refrigerating equipment. So whatever the equipment or mechanism or machinery used for this purpose is considered as a refrigerating equipment. Okay, application of refrigeration. In the beginning I told you that application of refrigerations are numerous, so endless almost. But from our subject point of view, we shall list out few of the major areas in which this refrigeration plays a very important role. First, comfort air conditioning of auditoriums, cinema halls, hotels, banks, and other commercial establishments, hospitals, residential areas, showrooms, dancing halls, offices, shopping mall, etc. So, first, the refrigeration may be used for comfort air conditioning. That's to produce or give comfort conditions for human beings. Next, storage and transportation of foodstuffs. So, it is very widely applied nowadays. So, you have to transport food from one place to other place, that is from the point of origin till the point of destination. So from the producer to the consumer, so in the good intact condition, there it plays a very important role. Next, manufacture and preservation of medicines. So in the medical, especially medical field, it has a very this one, what is that important role in because you know that surgery etc will be done in IC rooms, and at the same time you have to preserve the human tissues, organs in good condition for transportation etc. So this is very important aspect, as well as you have to preserve the what is that vaccines. Nowadays we are all talking about a COVID vaccine, so that must be preserved under lower temperature. So in all these areas it is very helpful. Next, manufacturing of ice and ice cubes. So whenever you want to have or produce ice artificial manner, there this refrigeration is required. Next, industrial air conditioning, like processing of textiles, printing work, and photographic material, etc. So in industry also, some processes are to be carried out under controlled conditions. That in that areas, this refrigeration becomes very useful. Next, cooling of concrete for dams. Normally, in constructions of dams, buildings, etc., curing will be done automatically in the natural fashion. So it takes several days. But there are some areas such as building construction of dam etc., where the time is very limited. So within the short period you have to cure it, otherwise there will be damage. In such places this refrigeration becomes very useful. Next, treatment of air for blast furnaces. So in the metallurgical industries air is to be supplied to the furnaces, but if you supply the atmospheric air as it is, then it would not give good result. On the other hand, if it is conditioned and supplied, then it will act as a catalyst and speed up the process, as well as the quality of the process also be enhanced. In that places, it is very useful. Next, processing of tobacco, petroleum, and other chemical products. As usual, in petrochemical industries and other industries, for processing of products. So normally in petrochemical industries, petroleum is extracted from crude oil at different temperatures. After that, suffocation, it must be cooled down to the normal temperature. In that places, it is very useful. Next, production of rocket fuels. So it is very another important field. So usually that we will deal under the title cryogenics. So fuels, rocket fuels are stored and preserved at a temperature below the freezing point, that is below 0 degree centigrade, much less than 0 degree centigrade. So in that condition, what happens, you can store a large quantity of fuel within small volume, which is very essential for rockets to carry from one place to, from its points of launching till it reaches the target or destination. Okay, units of refrigeration. So before taking up any process or any activity, it is very important. A proper measurement is required. Without measurement, we cannot achieve, or we cannot proclaim anything. So likewise, in the field of refrigeration also, some unit is required. So that helps to set up the standard and carry out the comparison process, and then finally we can judge or conclude whether we have achieved it or not. For that sake, some measurement is required. For that, you have to define some unit for each and every parameter. In this refrigeration field, also for refrigeration, we have to give some unit. So the whatever the unit that we allot here, that must be defined and understood first. So usually the unit of refrigeration is a ton of refrigeration, or it is simply written as ton, TON, denoted by the symbol TR. And you may wonder why this term ton is used. Actually, it is taken from the original metric ton, TONNE, which implies 1000 kilograms. But before setting up the unit for refrigeration, the scientists and engineers taken the melting of ice as a basis. They have taken 1 metric ton of ice, that is 1000 kilograms of ice, and at a 32 degree Fahrenheit, and which completely melts and converted into water at 32 degree Fahrenheit. Actually, or in terms of degree centigrade, it is 0 degree centigrade and 0 degree centigrade water. So 1 ton of ice is taken, and that is allowed to melt, and so we have converted all the ice into water at 0 degree centigrade within 24 hours. And during that time, they have measured how much heat it would absorb, and that is taken as a basis. That's why it's called a ton, TON. And detailed calculation and conversion, all these things not required for you. That's why in the simple manner you remember these things. In MKS units, 1 ton means 50.54 kilocalorie per minute, or you can round it off to 50 kilocalorie per minute. In a SI unit, International System of Units, so 1 ton of refrigeration is given by 12,000 into 1.055 kilojoule. So here 12,000 British thermal unit. So originally in FES system, food from second system, the concept was developed, and that's why it is taken as basis. And so 12,000 British thermal unit is equal to is multiplied by 1.055 kilojoule, that is a SI unit heat value. So it's, if you multiply these two, then you'll get 12,660 kilojoule per hour. So it's for 1 hour, and if you divide it by 60, so then you'll get in terms of minute, it comes around 211 kilojoule per minute. Further, it can be converted into second by dividing it again by 60 seconds. So that's equal to 3.517 kilojoule per second. So you have to remember that 1 ton of refrigeration in SI unit is equal to 211 kilojoule per minute, or 3.517 kilojoule per second. In MKS unit, it is 50 kilocalorie per minute. Okay, next we shall take up methods of refrigeration. So there are numerous methods tried out for producing a refrigeration or cooling effect by scientists in several ways. A few of them you can list out, and we shall discuss them in detail one by one. Here I have listed 11 type of the methods used for producing cooling effect. First one is ice refrigeration, second dry ice refrigeration, third evaporative refrigeration, fourth air expansion refrigeration, fifth gas throttling refrigeration, sixth steam jet refrigeration, seventh liquid gas refrigeration, eighth vapor compression refrigeration, ninth vapor absorption refrigeration, 10th thermoelectric refrigeration, 11th magnetic refrigeration. So now we shall discuss in detail one by one these methods. First, we shall take up ice refrigeration. So, as the name indicates, here we have to take either natural ice or artificial ice for producing cooling effect. So, arrangement is as shown in the figure 1.2. So, there is a tray. Above the tray, you have to keep ice cubes or ice particles, and you have to make that space insulated. That is called refrigerated space. There you can keep your substances, or you can cool that space. If do not keep the substances, then that space would be cooled. So here actually what happens, when the ice kept on the tray comes in contact with surrounding air, you remember that the air is hotter than ice, then automatically what happens, there would be heat exchange between ice particles and air particles. So when air particles come in contact with ice particles, they become cooled by exchange of heat and they become dense. Their density increases and they start moving in the downward direction. On the other hand, when they reach the bottom of the space, then they come in contact with other air particles or substances. Then there would be further heat exchange between the air particles and the surrounding air particles and other things. Then automatically what happens, air particles lose their density, they become light and they start moving in upward direction. In that way, there will be continuous exchange of heat from the space to the ice kept on the tray, and ice gradually melts, and that would be converted into water, and it is let out as a drain. In this way, cooling can be accomplished, and it is the oldest and the earlier method used. This method was the only means to produce cooling effect in olden times. And here I would like to point out that 1 kg of ice having latent heat of 335 kilojoule per kg can produce cooling effect by absorbing heat from a surrounding. Usually, in order to produce 1 kilogram of ice, you have to remove 335 kilojoule of heat from it. And on the other hand, for cooling by ice, that much quantity of heat can be absorbed by the ice. Theoretically, but practically it may be little bit lesser than that. But anyhow, you remember that 1 for melting 1 kg of ice, you have to supply 335 kilojoule of heat. So that is called as the latent heat. So that is utilized here. And you know that in the first instance, what we have discussed, the producing a cooling effect using ice, which is much inconvenient. Each and every time a person must be there to look after and supply the ice into the tray as and when it melts completely. So it is a tedious process and not convenient. And somewhat it can be made automatic by using some secondary refrigerant. What is that secondary refrigerant? Where you know that water freezes at 0 degrees centigrade, it becomes ice, and below 0 degrees centigrade now you cannot cool, but it can be made still in the liquid condition by adding some salt substances to it, such as sodium chloride, calcium chloride, etc. When these salts are added to water, that becomes that salt solution, and which is called a brine. It is called secondary refrigerant in our technical terms. So such a secondary refrigerant can be used and arrangement can be made as shown in the figure 1.3. So here a particular heat exchange chamber is prepared where ice cubes and ice particles are kept, which is surrounded by the tubes containing a secondary refrigerant, and that secondary refrigerant initially exchange their heat with the ice particles in the cooling chamber, where the exchange of heat takes place and water becomes the brine or secondary refrigerant becomes chilled, and that chilled water is supplied to the space to be cooled through pipelines. And here there will be again heat exchange between surrounding air and chilled water inside the tubes, and that becomes warm water, and it goes back to the cooling chamber where it gives up its heat to the ice, and thereby the cooling chilled water it becomes, and it is further supplied back to the refrigerated space. Still, like this, the process repeats, and ice gets melt, and that becomes water, and it is drained off. And this is somewhat semi or automatic, and if you include one pump for supplying the chilled water, then it is somewhat better, and a tedious job of keeping or putting the ice each and every time can be avoided to some extent. Okay, we shall now take up the main advantages of ice refrigeration. The ice refrigeration has the following advantages. First one, it prevents dehydration of foodstuff like fresh fruit, vegetables, fish, and poultry products, etc. So usually the ice is nothing but water particles. It made up was water particles. So when it comes in contact with foodstuff, it will not suck the water content present in the foodstuff. So likewise, the dehydration means the removal of water particles from the foodstuff can be avoided. Otherwise, what happens if in the other cooling process, usually what happens when this surface is cooled, then the moisture present inside the foodstuffs or fruit items will come out. So that is we call osmosis. In that way, it loses its quality and taste. But that does not happen here because this ice particles or this one water vapor will avoid the escape of water from the foodstuff. Second, it preserves the appearance of eatable products and imparts them high appeal. So the appearance and taste can be retained as original. That is another advantage of this method. But it has many other disadvantages also. So what are the disadvantages? There is a limit to obtain lowest temperature. The lowest temperature theoretically possible by this method is 0 degrees centigrade, which is equal to the melting temperature of ice. If the temperature is to be further decreased, the help of some freezing mixture is to be taken. The commonly used salts used freezing mixtures are sodium chloride, calcium chloride, ammonium sulfate. Any of these salts is added to ice to enable it to melt at a faster rate, which causes more heat absorption. So the limitation of this method is that the lowest temperature that can be attained is 0 degrees centigrade. Below 0 you cannot proceed. Okay. Second, the ice is fed to the refrigerator off and on, which is not convenient and economical, as we already discussed, which is inconvenient method. Third, there is a problem of disposing of water coming out of the refrigerator. So after ice melting, the water comes out, water is formed, and that must be disposed of, which makes the surrounding area dirty and polluted. So it is a very highly objectionable thing. Next, there is a problem of disposing of water coming out of the refrigerator. Okay, then the control on rate of refrigeration is not possible. Here, the cooling has to take place as it is. We do not have any control over that process. That is another drawback of this method. Okay, next we shall take up a dry ice refrigeration. So in order to overcome some of the drawbacks of ice refrigeration, the next method tried out is dry ice refrigeration. So what is dry ice? Dry ice is nothing but solid carbon dioxide, commonly known as dry ice. So this can be used conveniently, especially in transport vehicles for keeping the foodstuff in a good at lower temperature from place of origin to place of destination. So refrigerated trucks, etc., will use this dry ice. Especially, this method is very convenient for transportation through flights from one country to another country. So what are all the reasons? We shall discuss them. Look here. So solid carbon dioxide, it is commonly known as a dry ice. It evaporates at minus 78 degrees centigrade. That means solid carbon dioxide evaporates at minus 78 degrees centigrade under standard atmospheric pressure. The method, so this method can produce lower temperature than ice refrigeration method. What are you expect. Then this method is widely used to preserve low temperature perishable foodstuffs like ice cream or frozen vegetables during transportation from one place to another place. So it is shown as in the figure. The food cartons or boxes that would be surrounded with a uh, solid carbon dioxide rays and kept in some insulated chamber. So in that fashion they are shifted from one place to another place. Here what happens is that solid carbon dioxide, since it melts at a lower temperature, as we discussed, at minus 70 degrees centigrade, so that converted into vapor, and that vapor can be exhausted to the atmosphere. Here you can see one thing: solid becomes a vapor directly, not attaining or reaching the liquid state. So directly solid is converted into vapor. That's why there is no question of liquid liquid this one handling. So the surrounding place or surrounding area will not be polluted. So straight away the solid is converted into vapor, and that is let out to the atmosphere. So in this way we can easily achieve the cooling without polluting the or making the surrounding place dirty. And the process of converting solid into vapor without entering into the liquid phase is called sublimation. So solid carbon dioxide sublimates in this process and produces cooling effect. Okay, next we shall take up evaporative refrigeration. It is another method of refrigeration. So in order to understand in a better manner, we shall take the following examples. When a liquid evaporates, it absorbs heat from its surroundings, equivalent to its latent heat of evaporation. Thereby, temperature of surroundings is decreased. So here, I would like to give one example. Usually, we will in thermal engineering, you have studied that steam formation. How it happens? The liquid is water is heated, and so after some time it starts boiling, and after boiling the steam will be produced, water vapor will be produced, and for the it is called steam. So here you might have noticed that in a boiler we have inserted a thermometer which is having a wide range above the 100 degrees centigrade, and initially when you start supplying the heat, you can observe changes in thermometer reading. So it reaches up to 100 degrees centigrade, which is called a boiling point of water. So under a normal or 1 atmosphere pressure. So beyond that, whatever the additional heat you supply, that would not make any changes in your thermometer, and that whatever additional heat you supply is utilized to change the phase, that is from liquid to vapor. And till the boiling temperature of water, whatever the heat you supply, that is called sensible heat, and beyond the 100 degrees centigrade, whatever you supply, that heat is called a hidden heat or a latent heat. So in order to convert any liquid into vapor, first of all you have to supply it the latent heat of evaporation, then only it gets evaporated. So if you simply supply sensible heat, then there is no change you can observe in that phase or state of the substance. But when you supply more than that sensible heat, then it is converted into vapor. So that is called evaporation. So this can be well understood by the following examples. When you put a drop of spirit on your palm, the palm at that space, you will feel some cooling. How it actually happens? That is because the spirit, whatever placed on your palm, wants to evaporate. But in order to do so, that liquid phase is to be converted into vapor. For that, it requires the latent heat of evaporation. So it absorbs the heat from the surrounding skin particles, and thereby when it acquires its latent heat of evaporation, then it is converted into vapor, and it gets evaporated, and you will get a cooling effect in the spot. So it is another example of evaporative cooling. Next, we shall take up one more example. An earthen pitcher filled with water, when placed in open air during a summer night, makes water cool due to evaporation of water through the pores in the walls of the pitcher. So in a muddy pot or earthen pitcher, usually this method is followed in some village places where the modern refrigeration facility is not available, especially during summer season. The people, when they would like to drink chilled water, they adopt this method. So they keep the water inside a muddy pot or earthen pitcher, and then for some time, and then after some time they get cooled water. So how it happens? So that the mechanism you can study like this. So usually earthen pitcher or muddy pot so many micro holes in its surface. Through all these micro holes, or it is called porosity, the water particles are entrapped and then come out and stay on the outside surface. And the water particles staying on the outside surface, they would like to fly with the surrounding air, but they cannot do so unless they absorb their latent heat for a phase change. So what they do, they absorb the heat from the surrounding water particles present in the inside the pot, and thereby they acquire the latent heat of evaporation and they fly off. And in this way, there are so many water particles escaping and flying off by absorbing the heat from the water particles present inside. Thereby what happens, the water present inside the pot gets cooled, and after some time get a chilled water. So especially this is a mechanism adopted in cooling of such water in village places. Thermodynamically speaking, evaporative cooling is a adiabatic exchange of heat between air and water spray or wetted surface. So it is a adiabatic process. Adiabatic means no additional heat is added or removed from the system. Whatever that is there with the system, that is subjected to change. Okay. This method of cooling is employed in desert coolers, commonly known as room coolers, and this method is also used for making artificial snow and evaporative type of condensers for a refrigeration plant. So in summer we use air coolers, especially hot places. So in the air cooler, this same evaporative principle is adopted. Okay, we shall check our level of knowledge and understanding through some multiple choice questions. First one, refrigeration means cooling, heating, both, none of the above. So what do you mean refrigeration? So it is very simple. First one, cooling. Okay. Second, the system maintained at a lower temperature is known as a heating system, refrigerated system, isolated system, none of the above. What is your answer? So it is well said that it is a B, refrigerated system. Okay. Third question, refrigeration involves lowering and maintaining temperature, or second, lowering and maintaining temperature. Third, none of the above. What is your answer? So as per the definition, it is option B, lowering and maintaining the temperature. Okay, we shall take a fourth question. The unit of refrigeration is TONNE, TONE, TON. So what is your answer? It is C, TON. Okay. Fifth, in SI units, 1 ton of refrigeration means 200 BTU per minute, 50 kilocalorie per minute, 211 kilojoule per minute. What is your answer? Please recall. So it is option C, 211 kilojoule per minute. Okay. Sixth question. The latent heat of ice is 336 kilojoule per kg, 335 kilojoule per kg, 224 kilojoule per kg. What is your answer? So it is option B, 335 kilojoule per kg. Seventh question. In ice refrigeration method, the transfer of heat from space to ice takes place by forced convective current, natural convective current, none of the above. So what is your answer? From our discussion, it's clear that it is a natural convective current, since we are not using any pump or any other device for a circulation of air. That's why it is a natural. Okay, eighth question. The dry ice means solid carbon dioxide, solid carbon monoxide, solid carbon chloride. What is your answer? It is option A, solid carbon dioxide. Next, Ninth question. Sublimation is a process of changing solid to liquid phase, changing a solid to vapor phase, changing vapor to liquid phase. What is your answer? So it is a solid to vapor phase. That means option B. Next, 10th question. The desert cooler works on the principle of evaporative cooling, non-evaporative cooling, none of the above. What is your answer? It is option A, evaporative cooling. So with this, we shall end up this session. Before ending of this session, I would like to tell you that please refer these reference books written by famous authors. They are in the standard textbooks available for meant for refrigeration and air conditioning, written by famous authors. They are available in your college libraries, as well as in some textbooks are available in e-library also. So please certainly you refer these books in order to enhance and enrich your knowledge. Okay. Thank you one and all. We shall conclude this session. Thank you.